Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the 11th hour. Tonight, just like any other night, it's a Friday night. You're an entrepreneur, you're up, you're working, you kind of doing something to keep yourself driven toward that goal, or you just up, maybe chilling, relaxing, and you take a minute, come over and listen to me talk for a little while, kind of collect your thoughts and get a sense of what you want to do going into your weekend, going into the next week, or even for the rest of the year, for that matter. So tonight, I'll give a shout out to my man Sylvester Townsend, Appalachia Alkaline Waters, very good stuff. Sells it at a lot of places around town, but he's been at it for quite a while. And as an entrepreneur, he's learned a lot of tough lessons too over the years. So tonight, I'm really talking about just, earlier today, we were talking about the fact that there's so many great things going on this weekend. You had Ravinia tonight. You've got where they had a sundress festival scheduled for tomorrow that ended up getting canceled because of the weather expectations. But then you got the Silver Room Block Party, Pitchfork Festival, all these other things going on. And for entrepreneurs, sometimes that part of what we do can be very challenging in terms of the resisting, to prioritize your work and be able to resist, being able to resist going out, to that festival, to that party at the nightclub or wherever it might be. And we undergo that challenge all the time. All your friends are there. They posted on Facebook about, everybody's going, they're there, they're taking pictures, they're having fun. And then, in the picture pops up that person you haven't seen in 20 years and you wish you were there. But being an entrepreneur is about priority. No matter what your business is, no matter how simple you think it might be, if you ever intend to accomplish something that's going to feed you every day or take you to new heights in business, you got to be focused and you got to be clearly pegged in on your priorities. And most people, they had a convenience of being able to separate their personal and professional lives because, they go to work, whether it's 9 to 5 or 10 to 6 or whatever, they can put their work in a frame for a day, for a week, even for a year for that matter, because they can plan a vacation a year ahead of time comfortably, right? As an entrepreneur, it's a little bit different. So the guy that's working in the corporate realm says, okay, I'm 9 to 5. When he gets home every day, he goes home with his family, what have you, he can do whatever he wants to do, and his work doesn't have to travel home with him. The entrepreneur, that's different. Even if your store closed at 5, if your shop closed at 5, the work for you is really just beginning. Shutting down a business, running through your numbers for the day, preparing for tomorrow, whatever that might be. Or if you're in say even an online-based business, you still got to evaluate your productivity every day, whether it's insight to the posts and the ads that you're running, your blogs or anything like that. There is always a measurable point for you to stay connected to in what you're doing. So being able to resist the urge to kick it is really, really tough. And it comes with that part that you always hear about that separation that has to occur at a point in how you kind of change your avenue and your venue of friends, right? So for me, the other night, I talked about the fact that I use the immersive approach toward entrepreneurship. So to me, my personal and business life are so intertwined, you can't tell them apart. I can't tell them apart. It doesn't mean that I don't, take a day off or whatever, but my switch just constantly stays on. And it's just something that happened that way. I've had times when I try to turn it off and I can't. And what I mean by that is this. So let's just say, I finish up tonight. If I decide to go lay down when this is over with, go home and lay down, and then my mind is still running. There's an idea. There's an email I forgot to send. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on that keeps popping up in my head. So my switch is always on because I can't ignore that when it comes up. Or it's a message that comes in late at night. I have a really active investor client overseas in Israel. So sometimes between midnight and 1 o'clock here is a high time for my communication with her. So what I'm doing is saying that, you got to be able to prioritize yourself and make that and keep that line where you need it to be for you. That immersive approach is life that I choose. And I choose that based on my ambition and where I intend to be and where I intend to go. I'm not a robot. I like football and I like entertainment just like everybody else. But several years ago when I started doing networking events with Fuzzy down at the South Loop, and we were doing those Monday night networking events, that was designed around the fact that I wanted to be able to watch football around a more productive group of people, so that I didn't feel like, you know, I had to watch a game and not that, you know, go into that loneliness state where I can't talk about ideas and different things, because my primary group of friends that I was watching football with all the time, they're not entrepreneurs. So on a certain level, you know, at a certain time when my mind is firing off, I need to feed that somewhere. And if they can't feed that back, that makes that experience a lot less pleasurable for me. So I started having those events and working with Fuzzy, doing that as a way of overcoming that for myself and bringing myself around a more productive circle of friends as I was looking to, you know, to gain and do things myself. So when I was saying that networking is my nightlife, when I go to a networking event, shout out to Tony P, does a lot of big networking events, downtown West Loop, you know, River North, you know, it's great networking events. If you with Sib's Breakfast Club and other places you go, where you can go, you can get music, you can get drinks, you can do everything probably but dance and really, really let your hair down because you're in this professional or semi-professional environment. But if you go in there with the right attitude, you can accomplish a lot and still have a great time. So you can't, when it comes to networking, you can't treat it like a chore. It's not something you feel like, oh shit, man, I got to go down here to this event. You got to walk in there with an attitude of, okay, let me go in here, find the jewels, find the nuggets, and then maybe I can leave, or if it's really great, I can stay and really make something happen. Odd fact is that when I feel like that, when there's a 5 o'clock event, I've had a really busy day, sometimes a 6 o'clock event, and it's a little bit of a hype. Sometimes I'll be like, man, I don't feel like going, damn. But every time I go to an event like that, I always get a lot of value of it. It's that thing in me that's resisting success on a certain level. It's resisting, it's just me unconsciously, I should say, resisting my own success. Because the real drive is, man, get your ass out there and go. You know, I done ran at a real high pace for a very long time, and I know how to do that. And it's fun for me. I like fast-paced business, but sometimes when I really kick back and then I'll go back and I'll look at the event like, damn, let me see, what's the value? What's the value? Can I find it? And then I'll go and then I'll have a great time and I'll meet all these different people. And this is coming from the perspective of a person. For me, I go to networking events from all types of different industries and stuff for business. So I've never kept it confined to just, let's say, real estate or marketing type events and different things like that. You know, so tomorrow's the Silver Room Block Party. You know, everybody fired up, I'm sure, for that, and hoping that the rain don't do everybody in. But at times like that, I always consider, okay, let me look at that. What's my extraction from that, right? You're not likely to see me on the dance floor, but I like socializing and hearing the music and having a good time like everybody else, right? But how can I do that in a way that does not make me feel like I'm losing something on the other side? First of all, as a matter of priority, I need to make sure that every client that I need to reach out to, email, call, whatever, has been contacted before I head out to that event. Worst thing in the world that could happen to you, right? You walking around, you got a drink in your hand, you kind of kicking it, and there go client 0 right there, that you haven't called back, or that you late with that proposal on, or you haven't made good on your deliverables, and they right there in front of you. Because that's an event you like to see anybody at, right? So, or you downtown at Oak Street Beach somewhere, or, you know, that can happen to you pretty much anywhere. So that's why if you're going to go out and kick it like that, just take care of your priorities and make sure that stuff is in order so you don't have to have that in the back of your mind. And like, shout out my girl Tanil was like, well, yeah, you know, you see them and then you kind of duck the other way if you know you haven't made that communication. So just an interesting factoid about the way things work. I've been out there, and I said earlier on my post earlier today, if I see you out there tomorrow and you haven't made good on your deliverables to me, you haven't answered my email, you haven't followed up, and none of that, you know, I always give people the benefit of the doubt. But usually that always, oh, I've been so busy. But here you are at the block party kicking it. Now, it's okay. So can I get my answer now? Can I get a definitive answer on when I'm going to get what I'm looking for now? No problem with doing that out there like that, you know, because when I'm there, I'm always thinking about some wide, broad idea of business. This is the nerd in me, right? So I go to a place like the Hyde Park Brew Fest or any event where you got vendors and you got like this setup, this orchestrated strategic setup, and I'll start to think about it and try to break out the revenue model, count the people, how's the money coming in, what's the flow, what's the revenue streams, what did they miss, what could they have done? That's just the way my mind works. So the nerd in me allows me to go in a place like that and find a way to feed my mind, even if there's nothing else like that going on. I just find a way to feed my mind. So if you get out there, again, just make sure that your stuff is in order, man, and go out there with a positive attitude and be ready to meet people. Usually in an environment like that where it's not built around business, the easiest way to make that contact is by making eye contact with the people that you see, especially if you, for whatever reason, think they're interested enough to meet on a business level. For me, I'm a real estate agent owner, so I keep business cards so that, man, if somebody meet somebody, hey, how you doing? Even if it's just a casual encounter, I'm in real estate. Call me if you need me. Thank you. Have a good time. And just keep it moving, but find a way to extract value. I got a client that I'm working with right now in a house. My Uber driver from like 3 weeks ago had a ride from a friend's house not far away, Ubered home, and me and the driver got to talking. What do you do? Real estate, bam, here we go, and here's the deal. So always be prepared to, or don't be afraid, of course, to let people know who you are, let people know what you do. And then you can go out there when you get to those events and stuff, you can go out there and play. And even if you want to let your head down, play without the stress of knowing that when you get home, you got a big ass to do this long that you haven't done because all weekend. So it went from, so you're like, okay, I'm gonna go over there from 2 to 5, and then I'll come back and I'll work on that from like 7 to 9. But because 2:30, that's when Kevin Ross hit the stage, Two Guard, his people hit the stage. Now that picks up. Now you want to stay for that. And then it's the after party after that, and it just goes on and on and on. Or you could get swept up into something on a business level that that happens a lot. I go to a networking event sometime. If I go to a networking event that's a 6 to 8, 5 to 8, or 6 to 9 downtown, I'm always prepared that I might meet somebody there where we need to, okay, let's go in the other room and have a drink and talk a little bit more. And it might go a little bit further and on into the night. So I'm always prepared for that. So as a part of the psychology of entrepreneurship, as a part of the way that you develop your business, and as a part of the way you approach networking, just always, you have to be in a position where you keep your switch on, you keep your attitude positive, and you're always aware that an opportunity can exist. For some of us, people are commodities, like every single person, right? Everybody needs a place to live. I'm a real estate agent, so that's what I do. If you have consumer packaged goods, you might have a broad, sweeping market base. Maybe you got some literature you can go to the festival and pass out about your business. Talk about something that talks about who you are, what you do. Maybe a flyer on people's windows. Whatever you want to do, find a way to extract value from the things that you do that are pleasurable to you. And that's how business and pleasure really work together, guys. And I've become very good at it. I have a ball at networking events. And to be honest with you, at a nightclub, at a pure party at a nightclub, I very rarely have a good time because I can't feed my mind. And like I said, that's the nerd in me, but I can't feed my mind. And I'm so thankful, though. I'm thankful that I achieved this point. To get to that point, that's an achievement beyond having money or anything like that. The ability to be locked in like that and be focused, for me, huge accomplishment. Like I told you, this wasn't I never knew this to be my path. So this should just kind of start happening and became what it's becoming, So I'm not working off of a set and an established playbook here. This is being built and evolving as I go along. But there's certain things that I have figured out and things that will help you avoid the trap. So do me a favor tonight, go to DwayneHurst.com, take a look at our masterclass series, The Psychology of Entrepreneurship, Business Development 101, and the art of networking. These things are very important to your business, but they're going to be given to you in these very simple, very raw, on the ground type of ways. You know, some of the greatest people I've met at places where, you know, it wasn't a networking event or a networking environment, but it was just a chance or a casual meeting because my switch was on and I could read that. The other thing you do is keep your ears open, right? So you hear people the same way you do, like, and me and my guy back before the crash, and we were doing properties, and some of y'all have done it too. I've met a few people who've done this. You'll be in a restaurant or something, you kind of talk a little extra loud for those people that's sitting behind you so they can hear you and then say, hey, did I hear you talking about real estate? Because back before the market crashed, everybody wanted to be a real estate investor. And I mean, you could just whisper it and people would dive on top of you like, hey, you got a deal? So we did that a lot. You know, we talk a little loud and people come over and say, hey, I'm interested. So you should also reverse that and then listen. So listen to what you hear people talking about and don't be afraid to interject like, hey, I might be able to help. I heard what you said. Not that I was hustling, but I heard what you said and I might be able to help. I met people that way. But it's always because my mind is on. So stay focused and stay present wherever you are on what you do. And things will start to come together for you. And then you don't have to feel that sense of guilt that I've heard people tell me about, that when they're out and they're in places where they know they don't, like, it's a place you don't have to be and you there, you know, you just sitting around trying to find value, or you just take a few pictures and leave. Shit, you know, have a little fun. People can say you was there. You know, some of us are still under the peer pressure of our old friends and colleagues that want to see us be out everywhere. They think you're supposed to be obligated to be there. You know, everybody else is going to be there. Why not you? But we ain't in this game because we followers, entrepreneurs. We're not in this game because we followers. We're not. We're not in this game because we followers. We're in this game because we're working to be leaders. We've been followers before. We've been effective at that before. But now it's our turn to lead. And again, whether you want, you've heard people saying it's very cliche. People say, well, you know, if you shoot for the stars, you'll hit a cloud. That's true. Work beyond what you think the goal of your own business is. Your goal for the year is $100,000 in revenue, right? It's 6 months, 7 months into the year, and you've already hit 80, 90% of that goal. What do? Do you slow down or do you speed up? What's your mentality? Because if you recognize what's happening, you see your business growing, you attack that, and then you start to mushroom that out greater. Don't ease back. But that's the time when that decision comes down, like, do I go to the big party or not? Man, they got my favorite rapper of all time at the Woo-Wop Theater tonight, and everybody gonna be there. But I got a listing appointment, a listing agreement, a contract to write. So what do? You do what you always do. You gird up your loins and you keep working. You get out, you prioritize your stuff, and you just go out and you make things happen. You know, good things always happen when you're doing good things. And when you're operating from a certain mind frame, they really kind of tend to fall in your lap. They just do. The great ones will tell you about that. The people and the entrepreneurs who tell their stories, they'll tell you that. My hope is that some of the people who come out to the masterclass will share those type of stories with you as well. So you understand that you're not alone in the things you see, the things you desire, and the way, the things that you're going through, the trials that you go through. You know, everybody talk about the devil of procrastination, right? That shit is a sin. Like, I'm thankful that I was able to get myself past that. And it came in part from just the idea of not resisting. So I'll tie this back into this and then close out. When I first started in the real estate business, I had a hard time slowing myself down enough to sit down and accept the fact that I was going to have to do paperwork, an intense level of paperwork that I wasn't quite happy about. And it just kept creating friction for me. It made my files move slower. Sometimes it created friction with me and my manager broker because he wanted me to operate, in a way that was a more, snap and focus. And he was right, because I didn't accept. I kept resisting, and I was suffering because of it. I was tense and angry. You thinking to yourself, how you gonna be excited about going to a damn party and then feel anxious when it comes to you thinking about the work you got to do? How you gonna do that? So think about that. You think if somebody call you, they talk about looking at posts, talking about the block party and these other things, festivals going on, and you all excited about that, and then you think, let me see, I got 7 properties up on the board. I need to do my checklist, this and that, do curriculum for the master class, and then you get tense. Or I got to go in this system and do all this fucking paperwork. You get tense about that, but you feel good about going out and doing what could be nothing. So I had to shift my mind. And the real estate business became a lot more friendly to me when I started to do that. And great things started to happen. So while I'm sitting up immersed in paperwork, the calls come in. The inquiries through Facebook come in. Another client here, another client there. And it's just flowing. And then what I started to see is that this is just a part of it. So I can't resist it. I have to embrace it until I can get the viable help that I need to manage that. A licensed real estate assistant is what I need to do that if you know anybody. But eXp Realty has made that an even easier process for me. So as I wind up tonight, guys, just remember to stay focused. And if you got work to do tomorrow, don't let the rain get you down. Don't let the rain slow you down. If you're going to party tomorrow, at any of the events out there, don't let it slow you down. Attack and do what it is that you want to do. Don't let the weather stop you. Don't let nothing stop you. And tonight, don't let the time stop you. It's the 11th hour, but don't make it your last hour. Keep working. Give me another hour, and I'll give you one. Peace.